Hey there. You ready to hop on a linguistic safari with us today?
I love that.
Because today's deep dive, we are trekking into the heart of Swahili,
Yeah?
a language you've probably brushed up against, maybe more than you realize.
It's true. Even if you think you've never encountered Swahili before, chances are you've heard Hakuna Matata,
Exactly.
a phrase that's pure Swahili.
Yeah, but we're going way beyond those two famous words today.
Well.
We're going to uncover the origins, the evolution, the cultural significance of Swahili.
Absolutely.
A language spoken by millions across East Africa and beyond.
Yeah.
Think of this deep dive as your shortcut to really understanding what makes this language tick.
And believe me, Swahili has a fascinating story, a long story.
Okay.
It's a language shaped by trade, by colonialism, by a desire for national unity, all these forces swirling together.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Okay.
Where do we even begin with a language as rich and complex as Swahili?
Well, a great place to start is with the word Swahili itself.
Oh.
It comes from the Arabic word salili, meaning of the coasts.
Of the coasts, wait, so that iconic phrase, Hakuna Matata, it's like a message from the coast itself.
Precisely. Swahili emerged along the East African coast, a vibrant crossroads of cultures and languages for centuries.
Right.
And that coastal origin story is deeply intertwined with the influence of Arabic.
Okay, so picture this. Ancient trade routes, bustling port cities, the scent of spices in the air. Am I getting close?
You are spot on. For centuries, Arab traders sailed these waters connecting East Africa to the wider Indian Ocean world.
Wow.
And their influence on Swahili was profound. We're talking a significant chunk, up to 40% of Swahili vocabulary having Arabic roots.
40%, that's huge.
It is.
So when I'm ordering a safari to see the Big Five, I'm actually using Arabic-influenced words.
You might be surprised to know that even basic English words like safari, a word we associate so strongly with Africa, has roots in Arabic, highlighting this deep connection.
Wow. What other everyday Swahili words can we thank Arabic for?
Well, think about the word for book. In Swahili, it's kitabu, which comes directly from the Arabic word kitab.
So it's like this linguistic fusion, a direct result of centuries of trade and cultural exchange. This language is like a history book in itself.
Exactly. The language itself is a testament to this vibrant history, reflecting the dynamic interactions between Arab traders and Bantu-speaking communities along the East African coast.
So we've got this incredibly rich language born from this melting pot of cultures.
Right.
But then, like a plot twist in our story, colonialism enters the scene, right?
Like,
I imagine that left its mark on Swahili, too.
you're absolutely right to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
European colonialism, particularly under German and British rule, played a significant role in shaping Swahili's development, particularly when it came to standardization.
In what ways? Did they try to suppress it, or was it more complicated than that?
It's definitely more nuanced.
Okay.
While they certainly prioritize their own languages, they also recognize Swahili's practicality. Think of it as a tool for administration and communication across a vast region with hundreds of local languages.
Right.
And perhaps most notably, they introduced the Latin alphabet for writing Swahili.
Which is the Swahili we see today.
Exactly.
Okay.
Before that, Swahili was primarily written in the Arabic script.
Wow.
This shift to a Latin-based writing system had a lasting impact on Swahili's trajectory, shaping how it's read and written to this day.
That's a pretty seismic shift. So Swahili goes from a trading language to a colonial tool, but then what? How does a language with this past become a symbol of national unity for a country like Tanzania?
It's an incredible story, isn't it?
Yeah.
After Tanzania gained independence in 1961, there was this huge push to foster a sense of national identity.
Right.
Imagine the challenge. A nation with over 120 diverse ethnic groups, all needing to find common ground.
And they chose Swahili for that unifying role. Bold move.
Exactly. The government recognized Swahili's potential as this incredible unifying force, a common language that could transcend those ethnic boundaries and bring people together.
So Swahili's journey takes it from a trading language to a colonial tool to a symbol of national pride. Talk about resilience.
It speaks volumes about the adaptability and resilience of language.
Wow.
And believe me, the story doesn't end there. It speaks volumes about the adaptability and resilience of language. And believe me, the story doesn't end there.
I bet it doesn't. We've been charting Swahili's course through Tanzania, but where else has this linguistic ship sailed? What's its reach like today?
Well, you could say Swahili really broke free from its origins. Today, it's a national or official language in several East African countries: Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, though the list goes on.
So it's not just a single nation's language, but a way to connect across borders. That's incredible.
Exactly. And when you add up everyone speaking Swahili, from native speakers to those who use it as a common language, the numbers are pretty astounding.
Hmm.
We're talking somewhere between 60 to 150 million people.
Wow, 150 million. That's like a whole continent finding a way to communicate. But with such a wide reach, I imagine there must be some regional variations in different dialects, right?
Absolutely. Just like any language spoken across a huge area, Swahili has its fair share of dialects. And some of these dialects are so distinct that speakers from different regions might have trouble understanding each other. It really highlights the incredible diversity within the Swahili language family.
It's like this language is a family reunion. Everyone's got their own little quirks and ways of speaking. So we've explored Swahili's history, its cultural significance, its geographical reach. But what about the language itself? I've got to admit, whenever I hear Swahili, it's like I'm hearing a code being deciphered. The grammar just sounds so unique.
You've hit on one of the most fascinating things about Swahili, its noun class system. It's a completely different way of thinking about nouns than we do in English.
Okay, now you've got to unpack this noun class system for me. How does it work? Is it like learning a secret language?
Think of it this way. Imagine each noun is wearing a little hat, a prefix that tells you something about it. Instead of grammatical genders like masculine or feminine, Swahili uses these prefixes to group nouns into different classes.
So instead of saying the table is feminine, like in French or Spanish, Swahili has a whole different system.
Exactly. For example, the prefix M often signals a singular person, like mtoto for child, but switch that prefix to wa, and boom, you've got the plural wado for children.
So these prefixes, these little hats on the words, they're like the key to unlocking how Swahili works, how words relate to each other.
Precisely. And it gets even more interesting. These prefixes aren't just about singular and plural, they carry deeper meanings. They can group nouns by qualities like whether something is alive, its shape, or even, wait for it, contempt.
Hold on, contempt. So you're telling me grammar can actually express negative feelings towards something? That's wild.
It's true. Let's take the Kiwi class, for example. It's often used for diminutives, which means something small. But it can also carry a sense of, shall we say, negativity. For instance, kilema, meaning cripple, uses this prefix. It suggests a somewhat derogatory view of disability embedded right there in the word itself.
Wow, that's deep. It's like this whole other layer of meaning hidden within the structure of the language.
Exactly. It speaks to the depth and complexity hidden within the structure of Swahili. This intricate noun class system is a defining feature of Swahili and other Bantu languages. It shapes not just how sentences are structured, but sometimes even the subtle emotions they convey.
It's like deciphering a code, but instead of secret messages, you're uncovering cultural attitudes and ways of seeing the world. Absolutely incredible. It's like deciphering a code, but instead of secret messages, you're uncovering cultural attitudes and ways of seeing the world. Absolutely incredible.
It's true. The deeper you go with Swahili, the more you realize it's more than just words and grammar. It's a reflection of how people see themselves and the world around them.
Okay, so we've got this amazing language with this whole intricate system of noun classes, but what about its heart and soul? Language isn't just about grammar rules, right? It's about stories, songs, proverbs, all those things that give a culture its personality. What about Swahili's cultural contributions? What kind of treasures are we uncovering there?
You're absolutely right. Swahili has this incredibly rich and vibrant literary tradition that goes back centuries. We're talking storytelling, poetry, prose that have been passed down for generations, some even dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries.
Wow, centuries old. Are there any specific examples of Swahili literature or oral traditions that you find particularly captivating? Something that would give our listeners a taste of that Swahili magic?
Oh, absolutely. There's a proverb that comes to mind, Imbioza sakafuni wishiu kingoni, which translates to running on a roof ends at the edge of it. It's a simple saying, but it speaks to this universal truth about the limitations of recklessness.
I love that. It's like a little dose of wisdom packed into a few words. It reminds me of that feeling when you're so caught up in the moment you forget there are consequences. Any other gems you can share?
Absolutely. How about Angurumapu Simbam Peteza Nani, which means who will dance to a lion's roaring?
Okay, you've got to break that one down for me. What's the context?
Well, imagine someone's all talk and no action. This proverb is a reminder not to be swayed by empty threats. It's like saying, don't let the roar intimidate you if there's no real danger behind it.
Ooh, I like that. A good reminder to stand your ground and not be fooled by appearances. These proverbs are amazing. It's like each one holds a little piece of Swahili wisdom passed down through generations.
Exactly. And they remind us that language isn't just about communication. It's about preserving culture, values, and history.
It makes you realize that learning a language is about so much more than just memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about tapping into a whole other way of seeing the world, understanding the heart of a culture.
You got it. And Swahili, with its rich history, its unique linguistic features, and its vibrant cultural expressions, offers this truly captivating window into the soul of East Africa.
It's like we've been on this incredible journey diving deep into the world of Swahili, from its coastal origins to its role in shaping national identity and even uncovering the intricacies of its noun class system.
It's remarkable how much depth and complexity there is to uncover, even with something we might think we have a grasp on. It reminds us that there's always more to learn, always deeper layers to explore.
So as we start to surface from this deep dive into the fascinating world of Swahili, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this exploration?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing to remember is that language is alive. It's constantly evolving and adapting, reflecting the journeys of its speakers. Think about Swahili's path shaped by trade, colonialism, and this deep-seated desire for unity. It highlights the powerful forces that influence how languages grow and the crucial role they play in our lives.
It makes you wonder what exciting twists and turns lie ahead for Swahili in the future, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it makes you think about the impact we have on the languages we speak and encounter every day. What will their journeys be? It's something to ponder as we continue to explore the intricate tapestry of human communication.
What a thought-provoking note to end on. To all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible world of Swahili. We hope you've discovered something new and maybe even feel inspired to continue exploring the power and beauty of languages. Until next time, keep those ears perked for adventure.